Am I the only one who absolutely hates the term cis woman? I just hate that word cis. Every time I hear it, I feel like somebody trying women, natural women. Can you imagine arguing with somebody and they just be like, shut your cis ass up. Look at that cis. Here come the cis girls. I'm waiting for the cis to arrive because I don't know who you talking to. We in the all girls bathroom. I just hate that word.
Understand. I don't understand, bitch. Don't understand. I don't understand, bitch.
Welcome to another episode of J Inclusive. Please share, like, comment, subscribe, and set your notifications on so you are alerted every time I upload.
This video did almost 500,000 the first time I posted it, but I don't think enough people saw it.
When I use the term cisgender, I'm acknowledging the humanity of transgender people. I'm simply acknowledging that they exist. And when people make an argument that it's a made-up word, you're just showing that you don't understand history and you don't believe in evolution. Up above my head, you're going to see made-up words and the years that they were added to the dictionary. Language is a social construct. All words are made up. As humanity evolves, so does our language. But when people make statements like this, your concern really isn't made-up words. You're just showing your insecurity in your own humanity, so you feel the need to diminish somebody else's humanity to buttress your own lack of self-worth. Trans people exist. Trans people matter. And there's a made-up word for people who actively diminish the humanity of other humans. What's that word again? Oh yeah, evil. That's it. It's evil. I swear, I'm so sick of y'all. I swear.
You know the one thing that grinds my gears? Being called a cisgendered woman. Please help me to understand why, if I was born a woman, born a girl, born a female, that now I have to have a new title for who I am. And, you know, I understand that there is a community that likes to separate the two, so it's to help people understand the difference. But I don't need no one to explain my difference because I am what I am. I was born a female. My birth certificate says female from the second I was born. So to be called a cisgender woman, like, no, baby, I'm a woman. I'm a female. I am a girl. To label me as something that I was not born as just because we want to be, you know, explain correctly who we are when we're trying to separate ourselves from, you know, women that weren't born women. And it's okay. You can choose whatever gender you want to be. It is a free country. But I just don't like the fact that I was born a woman, but I got labeled something else. Like, how did that happen? And as women that were born females, are we all okay with this? Because I'm not. I don't like the fact that I have a new title because of another community that wants to separate women born a female and women that were not born. Just call me a woman, call me a female, call me a girl, whatever. But that cisgender woman or cis women, whatever that is, I don't like it at all.
If biological men and women tell you that they don't want to be called cisgender,
then they're transphobic. I'll slow it down and make it real simple for you though. Cisgendered is the antonym, the opposite of transgender. Meaning if you are not trans, you are cis. The same way the antonym to hot is cold, up to down, left to right, spicy to sweet. It just means the opposite. It is not a slur. It's basic language. Now, when cisgendered people don't want to identify themselves as cis, they say, don't call me cis, I'm a biological woman, blah, blah, blah. That is transphobic, and let me explain why. When somebody says something like, don't call me cisgendered, I'm not cisgendered, I'm a biological woman. Really what you're saying is, I don't want to feel equal to trans people because trans people are below me. I'm the default human. You guys want to believe that cisgendered is the default human, and that's not the case. You are othering trans people by doing that. Transgender people are people whose gender does not align with their sex at birth. Cisgendered people are people whose gender aligns with their sex at birth. Educate yourself.
Did you understand biological women's issue with being titled cis?
I've been listening to it, and I have decided that I'm going to remove that when I'm talking about biological women. I'm going to remove from coming from my mouth. I'm not going to remove it like from everybody else, because that's whatever everybody else has the opportunity to do whatever they want to do. But I'm going to remove that from my vocabulary talking about when I'm going to use bio or real woman for me, because there's too many real important issues to be focused on than just what you being cis and this.
Why is it always people who aren't biological women correcting others on what to call women? I'm trans and I can't stand the word cis. If trans people want everyone to call them by their preferred pronouns, then why must we enforce the word cis on people who don't want to be called it? It makes no sense, cis. And I'm all for acknowledging the difference between a biological woman and a trans woman. But that's why we're called trans women, and they are simply just women. Say it with me, they are women. Just women. It doesn't take away from trans women by acknowledging this. And guess what? I'm not offended to be called a trans woman because I'm not ashamed to be trans. It doesn't hurt me at all to make that distinction. If we have any respect for women, then the word cis has to go away completely. Because cis and sister is the only way I'll be using it.
The use of the term cisgender is work, okay? The use of the term trans woman, trans man, cisgender, all of these terms is actual work. It's work that is benefiting the collective. The more we normalize these terms and we use them, terms that have existed before you heard of them, before this app, okay? The more we normalize these terms, the more that we take people who've always been people, who've always been humans, but they have been constantly pushed to the margins, and we start to protect them, understand that that protection flows inward back to center. So everyone between them and the seat of power are impacted. Like cisgender people, they are impacted positively. If we have doctors who are normalizing language that includes trans people, those doctors are that much more sophisticated in their practice overall. You will benefit. The more we have lawyers that are inclusive of trans people in their practice, the more we have legal scholars who are inclusive, we all benefit from that. Okay? As a parent, I'm 40 years old. As a parent, the more I normalize this language, I'm rewiring my brain to start thinking about protecting and caring for my children, no matter who they are. I want my children to live in their truth, and I want to be a safe space for their truth. But guess what? The better I treat my children, the better I teach my children. And that way I can hold my children accountable to treating your children better. Our children will be treated better because I am learning to recognize the humanity in people who've always been humans. On the job, the more you normalize inclusive language, the more comfortable trans people will be applying to your company. And when you hire people who have existed at the margins in such a way that trans people exist at the margins, your work gets better because they are so sophisticated about that piece of the world, about that function of society, about the way systems target those people. They will boost your bottom line. Now, I shouldn't have to say it like this. I shouldn't have to be transactional for you to understand that you need to treat people like humans. And if that means adjusting your vocabulary, so be it. It shouldn't be like that. I should just be able to say, you know what? As a Black woman, I get a lot of arrows in my back. And the last thing I want to do is take one of those arrows in my back and shoot it at somebody else. That should be enough. But it's not enough. So I have to get transactional. I have to let you know that once we pull people from the margins, once we stop targeting them, and we start protecting them the way we know all humans should be protected, everyone benefits.
I am a woman and you will refer to me as such. You don't want to be called cis? Too bad. What? You see where the disconnect is? How can some of you demand others to refer to you by your preferred pronouns? Otherwise, you're up in arms. But when somebody says they don't want to be referred to as a cis woman or a cis man, you can't show that same respect. Instead, some of you try to define what cis means or where it originated. Baby, nobody ask for the definition. They simply ask for you not to refer to them as cis. Or how cis is simply a prefix to differentiate between biological and trans individuals. No, baby. Trans is the differentiating prefix between the two. Somebody once commented a while ago on one of my posts saying, you don't go into a coffee shop and ask for a caffeinated coffee. You go in and you either ask for a coffee or a decaf coffee. Entitlement to me is crazy and just goes to show how some people within the community, and I use that term very loosely, how they're forcing this movement onto others still. And that, and I've said it time and time again, will be our ultimate downfall. And I'm addressing this comment because it's a clear issue. I mean, if you go back to the comment section of the video that this was posted under, the entire comment section is filled with discussions, arguments about this topic in particular. Now, respect is a two-way street, so if they are respecting how you choose to identify, then you should respect the fact that they don't want to take on a label that they didn't ask for in the first place.
Hi friend, is calling you a blonde woman also wrong? Because it's no different. Cisgender is just a way to describe someone. Get off your high horse.
I mean, yeah, because transgender women literally fought to be called transgender women. They didn't want to be called any of the other slurs. So they like, respectfully, just call me a trans woman. And we obliged. We call you a trans woman. We call you, we even respectfully call you a woman. We be like, girl this, girl that, but trying to erase biological women or make it all on an even playing field, it's not cool. And it's such a double standard with it because you don't want to be called a trans woman, but you're going to force cis woman down my throat. You want to add cisgender woman to my, to acknowledge me. But when we say trans to acknowledge you, it's a problem. Like, it's just too many double standards with it. Like, where's the ceiling? Are we going to have to continue to keep on bending for your comfortability? Are you ever going to be comfortable? I keep telling them, don't call me cisgender. I'm not cis. I'm not your sister. The only cis we acknowledge is the one that came out of my mom's vag. Okay? That's the only cis that's going to be sissing around here. Sis. Mister. I don't know.
So I remember that I posted this on my Facebook, but I can't remember if I posted it here. But the other night when I partook in the Jesus cabbage and was elevated, I came up like with a thought. And it was, you know how the argument where a lot of cis people are saying being called cisgender is a slur. And it's like, the reason why they consider it a slur is because they use trans and other gender identities as a slur to describe other people. That's why they think it's a slur when they are called cisgender, even though cisgender means like the same as or born as. Like it's basically a person whose gender identity, it like aligns with the sex that they were assigned at birth. There's no slur behind it. But because I know that they use slurs to describe non-cis people.
Is it really that hard to grasp? I am a woman. I am not a cis woman. Please don't call me a person with a uterus, a person who menstruates, or a person who can get pregnant. And don't call me a birthing person. How do you not realize how degrading that is? You can support the transgender community without calling women what we're not.
Child. Anyway, so
I decided to speak on this topic after reading a comment left under this video where a woman said, "Stop calling us cis women." The comment really stuck with me, not because it had any relevance to the video, but because it didn't. The discussion in the video centered around issues within the LGBT community, and the only exception was a clip featuring Tamar, which no one directly called Tamar a cis woman to her face, and even if they had, who's to say she would have been offended? So, that comment felt random and unnecessary. I responded to her, which then led to another woman replying to me. That exchange turned into a back and forth about the term cis. While I approached the conversation from a place of education, she responded emotionally and got in her feelings, even though, for me, it wasn't that deep. I eventually deleted my reply to her because I realized it was a pointless argument. We were never going to see eye to eye, and honestly, it wasn't worth the energy. But my original point still stands. We were discussing LGBTQ+ issues, the erasure of trans people, respecting boundaries and pronouns within our own community. And out of nowhere comes this outrage over the word cis, a word that wasn't even directed at her. Some people love to consume the culture, but refuse to educate themselves on it. They won't examine their biases or confront their homophobia and transphobia.
Let's talk it.